Hey everybody, Andy here with Mossy Creek Fly Fishing. Today is 24th. We've officially entered the summer and we have been feeling it with the temperatures we've seen last week and what we're seeing ahead of us this week. So if y'all have been outside much, you've noticed it's been hot. You've noticed our water levels are starting to drop, and we're seeing some changes in our fishing as a result of it. So talk this week about what to expect in our trout streams. As water gets low and clear, we're going to have a little bit more limited options. We're going to be focusing on spring creeks and tailwaters pretty much primarily now through the summer, unless we have some precipitation happen and bump up some of our freestone water levels. And then we'll be continuing to smallmouth fish a lot. So let's talk about brook trout. If you do decide to do it, you're going to want to kind of brook trout fish on a watershed basis, meaning if you happen to be local to an area and let's say we get a thunderstorm like this week, we've got some chances Wednesday evening through the weekend, we've got chances for some localized thunderstorms. If you get a good flush of rain through a system, you're going to see the water temps drop in that stream. You're going to see water levels come up and you'll see the fish get pretty active in response to it. So, you know, you can brook trout fish, but definitely keep an eye on things, watch your water temperatures. And like I said, probably not worth traveling a long distance to get to a stream without knowing much about it. You really want to just sort of focus on water that's close to home for that, unless we get a huge amount of rain coming through a big system that dumps rain all over the place, and then we'll see water levels rise in all those streams and temperatures dropping as well. Through the summer, if you are brook trout fishing, it's going to be terrestrial insects, things like your ants, like I spoke about last week, beetles, attractor patterns like Amy's ants, PMX, lots of good options out there, but our brook trout fishing is definitely getting limited. Water's low and clear. You're going to have those fish piled up in certain holes and they'll be extremely spooky, and they're not really doing a whole lot of feeding. They're just kind of relaxing and waiting for some cooler water temps and some higher water levels. So what I would spend your time doing if you want to trout fish is focus on your spring creeks and your tailwaters. Spring creeks like Mossy have consistent cold water, and we've had really great fishing on them. So water is still low and clear, so you still have to deal with the spooky fish. Midday, we do still have water temperatures come up, so you know you still get some fish getting a little more sluggish as we get into the afternoon hours when they've had that hot sun beating down on them all day. But especially if you can get out in the morning, we've had some great fishing lately. We're still seeing Tricos come off just about daily. That gets a lot of fish looking up. We've started to see our first Japanese beetles on the banks, and we've been catching fish on them now for about the last week pretty regularly. I was out last week, had some great dry fly fishing on Mossy. We had lots of customers echo that same report, and folks who went out and just fished a beetle all day long and caught lots of fish. So we're definitely getting into the swing of things with terrestrials out there. Some of my favorite fishing on the spring creeks is going to be our terrestrial season. One of the few times a year you get to just go and throw a dry fly and convince those big spring creek fish to rise through a big dry fly slapping down on the surface. I also did pretty well on Mossy fishing some small streamers, especially early morning before those bugs really got going, fishing things like our back flop jig or our tactical jig zonker in natural, and fishing them in a smaller size has been effective. Those flies are heavy but not huge. They get down quick and they get in front of the fish, and the fish have been responding well to them. So try that, try your terrestrials. If you can't get them on those things, put a dropper off of the back of your terrestrial and fish a small nymph as well. Something like a little Frenchie or a small soft tackle pheasant tail has worked well. Not terribly picky on exact fly choice of that nymph, but definitely going smaller in this low clear water is going to be a key. Beaver Creek, going to give you pretty much the same report. We are starting to notice a lot of farmers irrigating. If you drive around the valley, you'll be seeing that. So we are having a little bit of water taken out of those streams. So water levels may be a little lower than you might anticipate if you're downstream of some of that irrigation. One thing great about Mossy is we've got a lot of springs coming in right there through the public section. So they're getting some continual water added in through the system there. Now, tailwater fishing, let's say you want to get out and fish a big river. You can go and hit your tailwaters. Those are going to fish well and stay cold. through the summertime. Remember, the closer you are to the dam, the colder that water is going to be. If you are at the Jackson and you're way down by Covington or Petticoat Junction, you may see those water temperatures even still getting up to where the fish shut down in the afternoons. You know, it's not uncommon to see water temps get up to 68, 69 degrees in those areas. But if you move up closer to the dam, you'll have water more in your 50s, and fish will be happy and feeding all day long. A lot of nymph fishing over there. You can get some good dry fly fishing too. If you are wade fishing, I'd recommend focusing on your pocket water. Those fish will move into those fast moving spots, and you can pick them off with nymphs pretty consistently. Tight line rigs are a great way to go over there, and you could also try some of those same streamers I mentioned that we're fishing on Mossy and see if you can get big fish sitting on the bottom to come up for one of those. You could also fish creeks like South River or Buffalo Creek. Those stay cold, and you know, again, the morning's going to be your time to be there. Those are not 100% spring influence. They do still have some freestone properties to them, meaning that they're going to warm up more than a creek like Mossy. So I would definitely recommend early morning, fish till 11 o'clock, maybe noon, and then get out of there when you start getting uncomfortable. Water levels will, or water temps will also be on the rise at those same times. Now, our smallmouth fishing is one we do all day long right now and has been great. The water on the Shenandoah is definitely low and clear, but like I mentioned last week, that makes for some great topwater fishing, some great sight fishing opportunities. When you get these really bright sunny days that are super hot, you're going to want to focus your shade lines on the banks. The fish will move to that to get a little bit of reprieve from that hot midday sun. And then, you know, a deep pool, you'll find some fish down deep on structure too. So fishing minnow patterns along the banks, frog patterns in the morning can be a great way to go. Fishing your crayfish patterns through your deeper holes can be great. And, you know, throughout the day, fishing things like CK baitfish, Murdich minnows. A fly we have here called the flash drive is another good one that we've started fishing this year. Murdich wigglers, there's a lot of good options out there. But like I mentioned last week, be prepared for your different water types. You may have to change up from your really deep pools to your faster water to your long slicks. You're going to find fish feeding a little bit differently throughout those water types. We talked to some of our guides last week who were fishing some of your deeper, faster runs. And if you got down deep quick, you could catch fish pretty much on command over and over and over again. So good numbers of fish staging in your faster riffles. And then you know, again, as you fish the rest of the water, good to fish something that moves and you can survey and figure out where the fish are holding through that and cover a little bit more water. Carp fishing's been good too. Water's low and clear, so you get a lot of good shots at them. We've got some great carp patterns in here, some damselfly imitations, some crayfish imitations, and so if you want to get in on one of the hardest fighting freshwater fish you're going to see, come by, we can show you some fly patterns. We could also point you in the direction of some local ponds that have carp in them. Great way to spend the afternoon when it's hot out, just go and target some carp. And other than that, we're just going to keep an eye on the weather. We are hoping for some thunderstorms to hit our area later this week. We have slightly cooler temps this week than we did last, so maybe a little more comfortable for y'all to be out on the water, but it's still going to be hot, so stay hydrated, get out on the water, cool down, wading around a little bit, and enjoy the week. Thanks.